I was going to make this video about the top AI tools to use for marketers. And as I was preparing and setting up the camera, I got a text message from a friend that one of my friends passed away. And so, Zara Bear, we are going to make this video about something different. And I'm going to call this Remember the Day. Because we all rush through life. We wake up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we go to work, and we're rushing towards this visualization of a destination that we have of something, right? Maybe it's an ideal version of yourself, of how you are. Maybe it's an asset goal that you have. Maybe it's an accomplishment that you want to achieve, a victory that you want to obtain. And we're pushing and we're pushing and we're pushing. And so often along the way, as we're doing that, we lose track. And I think it's pretty obvious if you're an entrepreneur that, of course we lose track of maybe family, maybe we lose track of friends. But I think there's something else that's even more important is we lose track of ourselves in that process. Somewhere along the way through serving, through delivering, through goal achievement, we change, we transform, and the old version of ourselves actually gets left behind. And in many ways, that old version is actually the most true version of ourselves, that version that we had when we were kids, when we were just playing, when we were having fun, when we were enjoying life, simply understanding that, life is this great big gift that we're given. And, you don't have a mortgage on your life, right? You don't have something that you need to pay back, particularly you're given it as a gift. And so often when we get things for free, we take them for granted. So the takeaway from this video today, we're going to cover a couple of things. The first is how to remember to celebrate the day that you're in. I think we have this identity anchor that when we achieve XYZ, when we get that extra $1 million, when we buy that house, when we get that new car, when we hit a certain revenue goal, then we're allowed to celebrate. And we're not allowed to celebrate until we hit that goal. So it's almost like this great holding back of the reward mechanism. And one thing that today made me realize is that you should absolutely reward yourself every single day. You should wake up and you should reward yourself, and you should reward those around you, and you should serve those around you at the highest possible level. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to remember how good you did spreadsheets. Nobody's going to remember how good you did Google Slides, or how great your email copywriting was, or how good your funnel performed, to be honest. But they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the experiences that you had together, the shared experiences, and they'll remember the moments and the things that you contributed meaningfully to somebody's life. So if you are, for example, like in the coaching space, maybe take a moment today and really understand, your clients, like where are they hurting the most? Where do they need you the most right now? And it might not be related to the field that you coach in. If you're a business coach, maybe your client's going through a personal situation, and maybe that's what they actually need help with to help them build their business. If you are an entrepreneur yourself, ask your team, where does your team need that input? Where does your team need that help? Where does your team need that insight, that support, that guidance? And the same applies for yourself, because we often deprioritize ourselves. There's this kind of idea, right? You hit the goal, you have the reward. Once you hit the reward, you have the identity anchor because you have the thing. And because of that, you feel validated because you kept the promise to yourself. I really want you to flip that completely on its head and start thinking along the lines of, it's the incremental reward that I provide for myself that allows me to execute on all the things that I do need to do, push myself towards that goal to achieve that end outcome. But that end outcome doesn't define the type of person that I am. And I am actually quite capable of celebrating the entire way, right? Because I mean, imagine let's say making $1 million, right? A lot of people have that as an anchor. So imagine that's your anchor. Well, you make your $1 million, that's like a moment in time, and you have that day. So you spend that day celebrating, right? But to get to that point, you spend weeks, months, years, right? So why are you not celebrating that whole time, that whole journey? And start celebrating today. So that's your takeaway. Find one thing today that you can celebrate. Find one thing in the people that are in your network, whether that's your team, whether that's your coaches, whether that's your friends, whether that's your family, that you can contribute to meaningfully today, right here, right now, in this moment? What can you deliver that's going to create a long-lasting memory that will be anchored in eternity through time? You know, a lot of people ask me, Mikhail, how do I do better marketing? How do I do better copy? How do I do better sales? And the answer is always much more nuanced than they want. Anybody can write a great sales script. Anybody can build a landing page. Anybody can go and do like a checkout page and launch a digital product. It doesn't mean that it's going to resonate with people or make an emotional connection with people to actually change their life. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You know, if you're an entrepreneur for the sake of just getting money, I recommend you quit. I recommend you go do something else. And if you're an entrepreneur for the sake of realizing a vision, I recommend you find others like yourself that are going to support that vision. Because I think we have a way too much over-dependency on process and way too much under-dependency on vision and passion and purpose and dedication and consistency. A friend of mine told me this. It's like, it's not consistency, it's constance, right? It's maintaining a constant through time. It's not just showing up every day, it's being in a state of showing up for yourself every day. If you're watching this, what might come up for you is, well, that's great, but I feel guilt. I feel guilt. When I prioritize myself or what I genuinely want to do, I feel guilt. And I urge you to sit down and to figure out why you feel guilt around prioritizing yourself. Because if you are in any sort of leadership position, if you're a project manager, an executive, a leader of a team, and you're not able to lead yourself without guilt, you are wasting precious energy that you should be contributing to improving your own life and improving the lives of those people that depend on you, right? Because if you're the leader of an organization, you might have 2 or 3 people that depend on you. You might have 30, you might have 50, you might have 1,500, right? Some people have thousands of people that depend on their psychology and their ability to keep their psychology straight. Whenever you have a conversation with those types of people, one of the first things that they prioritize is their own resiliency, their own mindset, their own capability, their own rituals, their own boundary control, being able to say no instead of just saying yes to everything. Because again, at the end of the day, if you visualize this moment that I just had where we're going through, and I had plans to see this person in the future, and now I'll never get to. And I had an issue like this last year where, you know, my grandfather who lived in Russia passed away, and I realized I will never get to see my grandfather ever again. He's simply gone. That is it. And in that moment, like, the sales and the revenue numbers really don't matter. They really don't matter. Everybody's kind of chasing the rabbit. They're seeking the dopamine hit. They want to look cool on social media. And I'm letting you know right now, here's what's about to happen. Okay, AI is going to take over 60 to 70% of those things that made marketers useful. Copywriting, advertising, landing page optimizations, those things will be automated. And I think a lot of people are freaking out over that because it feels like a dehumanization of society. But actually, the much better perspective is that it's a rehumanization of society. It is a reminder for us to remember what humans are all about, why we are here. We were placed on this earth. Like, think about this. You have this like ball of rock flying around a fission reaction, which is basically like a giant furnace thing. And it's at the perfect distance so we can exist and we can breathe. And we're over here like worried about our 401k and our SEP IRA max outs and like all this stuff that is so minuscule and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, that we actually put ourselves into a pattern of self-attack because we never feel like we're supposed to belong. That's something that comes up. I'm actually pretty certain that every single one of you watching this has come up for you at least once in your life where you felt like an imposter in the life that you created. Why is that? Why would you ever, put yourself in a room with high-level individuals and then feel like an imposter, as if you don't belong there, even though you took the initiative to put yourself in that room? Why is it that we have such a low self-belief threshold? Because genuinely, we are programmed and we are trained to be that way so that we can be good consumers, so that we can buy things to make ourselves feel validated, to get the dopamine hit, so that as a result of that, we can then drive other people's dreams and other people's enterprise, right? They say, if you don't build your own dream, someone will hire you to build theirs, or someone will sell you a product so that you can build theirs. Here's what's going to happen. AI is going to systematize 70% of this. A bunch of people are going to fall off, and then you're going to have a subset of people that are going to embrace this change, and they are going to remember what makes us human. This is the ability to connect, the ability to see intangibles, the ability to support one another emotionally, the ability to visualize an outcome that doesn't exist yet, and then push ourselves and our team to realize it. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It's all about innovation. And when we innovate at the highest level, we're achieving a purpose. And guess what? When we're achieving a purpose, hopefully we're creating those long-lasting memories and those anchors for ourselves and for those around us, so that when we have these big breaks in the matrix or cracks in the glass, if you will, in your life, where you have a sharp moment that you remember for the rest of your life, right? We all have those moments where we look back and go, I know exactly where I was. I know exactly what I was doing when that happened. You can also have an identity anchor to yourself of being able to say, wow, I am genuinely happy with the life that I have created. And that's where it starts. Good copywriting, good sales, good marketing, that's where it starts. Because when you're having a conversation with a prospect, you need to be able to look them in the eye with a straight face and say, you know what? I actually am speaking from a position where there is a sense of having obtained something that is desirable. And that could be teaching somebody how to go make money online. That's quite reasonable. It could also be how to live a lifestyle where you wake up with a sense of purpose and passion and drive every day. That is also in and of itself an achievement, or a sense of congruence with who you are as a human being. That is also a sense of achievement. It's important to understand that. In a different video, I'll break down top 10 tools in the AI space for marketers. That's going to be awesome. And what I'd love to hear from you is, what was the moment that you look back on that you can remember sharply? It might have been a moment of celebration, it might have been a moment of passion, it might have been a moment of elation, it might have been a moment of contribution, it might have been cats jumping up and improving your day, right? It might have been a fond memory with a friend or a family member. Comment down below and ask yourself, what would life look like if it was only filled with those moments? If there was no gray area in between, what would that look like if it was just those bright, colorful, beautiful moments all the way through? What type of life would that look like for you? How would you feel about your day? And from there, we can start having discussions around what are the things that you would actually need to do in your life to be able to actually have that. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Love you guys. See you in the next one.